Hey guys, Parfax here. Today I want to bring you a video on my thoughts of the upcoming Mythics coming out in the Blackwood expansion that is launching next week. All right, let's get started. So I'm here on the PTS and I just wanted to bring you a video on the Mythics coming out and what I think of them. So let's start talking about them. So first we're going to talk about the Death Dealer's Feat. And I think this is going to be a interesting little one piece. Basically, it gives you resources, your max health, stamina, and magic for being in combat for every 2 seconds. And then for every 4 seconds you're out of combat, you are going to lose a stack, and you can get up to 30 stacks. Basically, if you get this fully stacked up, it's something like 2,700 of each of the stat, which is really good. That's better than, I think, any 5-piece in the game. Shackle Breaker's pretty close. Shackle Breaker might be, it's a little bit more in some categories. But essentially look at this as almost like a Shackle Breakers with a 1-piece, but it's conditional. The one thing that's good about this set is you gain it twice as fast as you lose it. There's another piece we will talk about here that is the other way around. You lose it faster than you gain it, which can be kind of a problem, especially in things like PvP. But I think this is going to see play in your very tanky PvP builds. I don't know if PvE you're really going to run it. You can, but I think there's just better options. I don't think you necessarily need it. It doesn't give you that much stats. I think if you're running something more just like a regen set, it'll be better. But I think this has a place. This is probably the one I am least excited about out of all the Mythics, but it's still pretty good and it still gives you a lot of resources. So next we have the PvE Juggernaut, the Harpooner's Waiting Kilt. And this is one of the ones I was talking about. You lose it faster than you gain it. And it says dealing direct damage grants you a stack of Hunter's Focused for 1 minute. Gaining up to 10 stacks at your max, and then you can gain 1 stack of Hunter's Focus per second. Each stack of Hunter's Focus increases your critical chance by 125 and your critical damage by 1%. And then the absolute massive drawback is taking direct damage removes 5 stacks of Hunter's Focus up to once per second. Removing Harpooner's Waiting Kilt removes all the stacks of Hunter's Focus. That last line is for just people trying to exploit where you stack this up and then quick swap to something off of it, and you still get to keep your stacks, and you don't even have the downside of losing your stacks. That's just, don't worry about that. That's just for people trying to exploit it. And then the set here, basically you get 10% critical damage, and I think it's right around 7 or 8% critical chance is what it amounts to. It's somewhere, I don't know the exact critical chance, but this is going to be your best in slot trials and dungeon 1-piece mythic. This is absolutely insane. You're not going to want to run this in PvE, or I don't think you're going to want to run this in something like Maelstrom or Vatishram. I think the Thracian arms are better than this if you're trying to run something like that, mainly because this you are still going to get hit, and if you get hit once, it can cut your stacks to half. If you get hit twice, then it completely cuts it off. So I don't think it's great for stuff like that. Now there will be people that run it, and there are people that will probably use it, but it's just too fluky for something that I would want to run. I'd rather want to run something like a Pale Order or it's like the Thracian arm cops or something like that. It's the arms for one of the older mythics that are probably just a little bit better than these, but still really good. You could also run something like this in there, because if you just stay in combat the entire time, you can just get massive stacks, which is really cool. But this is going to be your best in slot for dungeon and trials. This is going to be what everybody uses to parse their damage with in on the test dummies, because this is by far the best damage you're going to get from a 1-piece, and super easy to proc if you're not getting hit. If you're not getting hit, this is going to be best in slot for DPS, but if you get hit, this kind of sucks. All right, so that's kind of where that kind of fits in. So let's talk about the next piece. Shapeshifters Chain. I originally saw this and I hated it. I was like, I'm not gonna lie, this is kind of garbage. But where I don't think it's the best, I think it might have a place in a couple different builds. Obviously, werewolf or vampire. I think werewolf can probably use this a little easier than vampire, but I think it's better on vampire than it is werewolf, which, like, Parfax, that's really weird. But think about this as a one piece 15% ultimate, and then you really do like to stack your resources on a vampire more than stacking them on a werewolf. Werewolf does get to take the benefit from the max health, stamina, and magicka, the 1707, but the vampire is a lot better, takes a lot better use of the 15% ultimate regen. There was actually a buddy of mine, Envy. We were trying to do builds with vampirism and trying to keep that up like as much as possible. And I never actually thought of this piece, and now looking at it, it's a good stat stacker, and that one piece set, the 15% ultimate, is actually pretty good. We were thinking about running some other stuff, but I think this could be pretty insane on a few builds, and it's going to be very niche where it actually fits in, but I think where it fits in is actually going to be really, really good. So that's all the mythic. No, I'm just kidding. So, I mean, you can see it on my character right here. Let's talk about the new best mythic. I mean, there's no other way for PvP. There's no other way to say it. This helmet is insane, and it's insane for light armor users and medium armor users. So everybody that's running their big, heavy armor, this isn't that good for them. You're gonna still see people wear them. I think there's better choices if you're running heavy armor, but this is insane for your light and medium armor users. So we have Gaze of Sithis, and like it's light and heavy armors in PvP. This is not a great PvE helm. I just much rather run Pale Order, so especially with the buff it got. So Gaze of Sithis. This is a heavy helm that gives you 3,276 max health, 1,025 health recovery, 4,000 armor, and has the drawback of reduces your block mitigation to 0. Now, what that means is stuff that like stuns and stuff, you can still block them by blocking. It just means that you're going to take the full damage from, you know, even if you're blocking, versus you just don't need to block, basically is what it's saying. There are going to be some instances where you're going to want to block, but it's not going to give you any mitigation. So this helm gives you absolutely crazy amounts of stats. What you're going to do with this piece, and this is what you're going to see, I think, a lot of the meta builds. I'm actually on the first build that I'm going to run next patch, with the slight, like, I might run a Vatashram back bar, either the Inferno or the Resto, but I already put a build up for that. You can see that on my YouTube channel here. So what this does is, on your medium and light armor builds, gives you a one piece that is essentially a 5-piece bonus of tankiness. Actually, it's probably better. I don't know if there's even a better 5-piece bonus. I mean, the one set I like to run is the one that gives you a bunch of armor, and it does give you more armor than this for 5-piece, fortified brass. But this does give you health recovery and max health. So where that one doesn't, that gives you more flat armor, but it doesn't give you the max health and health recovery, and of course you don't have the block mitigation drawback like you do this Gaze of Sithis. But what you're going to be able to do now is you're going to be able to slot this as your one defensive item. Then you can run something like a recovery set, as in like your resources, and a damage set. And especially if you want to run, like, let's say I want to run an Inferno Staff of the Vatashram front bar, you can run 5 pieces of whatever set you want to do, and then 3 pieces here of Clever Alchemist, and then Clever Alchemist on the back bar, and it'll allow you to go to your back bar, do whatever conditional effect you need, swap to your front bar, and then have your Vatashram, Maelstrom, Masters, whatever weapon on your front bar to run around with. You can do something like, if you're running sort of the Unleashed Terror set is kind of one thing that has been running around. You can run that on your back bar as well. Typically that's ran with the Vatashram weapons, but you can do, this just opens up so many build opportunities, and you can do it a bunch of different ways. But I'm not kidding you when I say this helm is going to be a staple for magic and stamina users. With it comes at the best time because the two-piece helms got nerfed, especially for magic users, and stamina users already didn't have a great two-piece helm to run anyway. Other than like Balrogs is about the only two-piece stamina helm that's actually that good overall for DPS. So it's coming at a perfect time because the two-piece helms are going to be less worn, and it's giving you a helm that's a drawback because it's a helm, but it's just insane. Like, I can't, man, it's gonna be hard for me to not run this helm on a medium or light armor build. I honestly think it's that good, and they nerfed it by a decent amount on the PTS, and it's still absolutely busted. Let's just, for instance, let's just look at my stats here. Now, I do have champion points in. I do have the 2 armor and the health nodes like you typically do. I do have this health node right here, which you typically do. So that's the only ones that actually matter. I think I get a little bit of, hold on, let's drop my ultimate. I don't think I took it, but we're just gonna make sure. All right. I just want to make sure. So look at my stats right now. I have, this is with no food, no Mundus, nothing, just my champion points and the gear. And I don't have, so if you look at my gear right now, I think I'm only running 3 pieces here, Torx Pact, then I'm running 5-piece Heartland Conqueror, which gives me just a little bit of stats. And if you want to see my official build guide that I'm going to be doing, is my first build for a Magic Nightblade. I did post it. This video is going to be the next one coming out, so it was the day before. But so you just look, and I don't get much stats from the setup I have right now. So let's look at my stats. I have, with no food, nothing, I have almost 24,000 health. I have 1,766 health recovery. I have 22,931 spell resistance and 16,265 physical resistance. I hit my 1 shadow ability. And now I am up to 22,000. 20,000, hold on. Yeah, 28,022 with major resolve up, which every class gets. So that's insane. That's so much tankiness for 1 piece of gear. Like, and like, this health recovery is not something to like scoff at. This is actually not, it's going to get halved in PvP now, which is unfortunate. Basically, they did that for stuff like Troll King was really being a havoc and pretty rough to play against a lot of times. But this 1-piece helm is just absolutely insane. I love it. It's so tanky, and it's going to fit into a lot of my builds. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll be putting out more videos. The new expansion is just around the corner. We get companions, we get new mythics, we get a whole bunch of new stuff, and I'm super excited and can't wait for it to come out. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.